Behind the Scene with David Bedein in Jerusalem, Israel, March 2021. Israel's in the throes of another political election to take place on March 23rd. The focus of the election is new, the International Criminal Court. Netanyahu, the outgoing prime minister, who has been prime minister for 12 years in Israel, has made this into a campaign issue. This was not expected. Netanyahu has issued a crippling denunciation of the International Criminal Court, saying that this is a situation of latent anti-Semitism, where the International Criminal Court has picked out Israel as non-Jews have picked on Jews over the years. What's important to understand is that this is also happening at the same time that the Palestinian Authority and UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, have instituted a new curriculum which justifies and encourages the war against the Jews. This is all occurring at the same time that the Palestinian Authority has introduced a new curriculum where children sing songs about fighting Jews and about making the war against the Jews. I'm going to show you a very short clip right now about which our agency, the Center for Near East Policy Research, working with the UNRWA Monitor, our new agency that monitors UNRWA, has made concerning the jihad curriculum, the war curriculum of UNRWA, which we're showing this week in the United States Congress, and we'll show in other donor nations. It's very important to understand this concept of war against the Jews is now being promoted in an official way by the Palestinian Authority, by UNRWA, and this is not something that gets enough press attention. As a matter of fact, Prime Minister Netanyahu issued this curling speech against the International Criminal Court. I'm going to show you now a clip of what we're going to showing in the U.S. Congress this week, because the U.S. Congress is debating whether or not to continue funding UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, which was cut off by President Trump 3 years ago. So when you see this, and you also see the school system, the question is this the kind of thing that will advance peace in the Middle East? Prime Minister Netanyahu has made his decision to go up against the International Criminal Court and to go up against the system of schools which encourage war against the Jews. This is David Bedein reporting, Behind the Scene with David Bedein, and I want to just give you an update and coming attractions. Before the Israeli election, we will have a special presentation of where things are at in Israel's electoral, shall we say, spectrum before the elections take place and after the elections take place. Behind the Scene with David Bedein. Thank you.
UNRWA is the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. Its school system encompasses more than 400 facilities in Gaza, the West Bank, and Jerusalem. The system garners 58% of the $1.5 billion budget of UNRWA and proclaims that it educates refugee children to follow principles of nonviolence and conflict resolution in a peaceful manner. However, our monitoring of UNRWA during the COVID-19 pandemic shows the opposite.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا ومرحبا بكم طلابي الأعزاء في مدرسة ذكور الشاطئ الإعدادية باء وطلاب الصف السابع في منطقة غرب غزة التعليمية وفي قطاع غزة ككل. معكم المعلم رأفت عوض لنشرح سويا ونستكمل شرح البطاقات التعلمية التي أصدرتها دائرة التعليم في الأونروا.
Online UNRWA education delegitimizes Israel and glorifies those who die or kill others in the name of jihad. UNRWA presents Israel as a conquering power and colonial entity, The agency demands the right of return to pre-1948 Arab villages in what is now Israel.
ثالثا، الاستعمار الحديث الذي خضعت له فلسطين ولا زالت تخضع له، لن يستطيع أحد أن يجيب إجابة خاطئة بالطبع. الاحتلال الصهيوني الغاشم.
In other words, UNRWA indoctrinates the next generation for total war to replace Israel with a Palestinian state. Take, for example, the geography lesson taught by UNRWA teacher Rafat Awad.
معنا خريطة أوضح لتضاريس فلسطين، وبإمكانكم أن تروا أو تعددوا بعض المدن الساحلية الشهيرة في فلسطين، أشهرها مدينة عكا وحيفا وأيضا يافا. عنه في الخريطة هنا سهل مرج بن عامر بين جبال الكرمل وجبال جنين عن طريق الإنترنت، وتروا جمال هذا السهل الجميل جدا الذي يوجد في فلسطين، ولكن يمنعنا من رؤيته ومن التمتع بمنظره الجميل الاحتلال الصهيوني.
He teaches from a school book that bears the UNRWA logo and presents maps that omit the state of Israel.
أولا، نحدد على خريطة فلسطين المدن التالية: مدينة القدس تقريبا في هذه المنطقة، مدينة غزة كلكم تعرفونها هنا، مدينة بئر السبع هنا في جنوب فلسطين.
Such a map is not only an instrument to establish boundaries, it presents territorial demands that incorporate the right of return as the main weapon of delegitimization.
مرحبا، أنا غزل أبو كلوك كي 3. اليوم سنتعرف على أسماء المدن الفلسطينية. القدس، صفد، حيفا، عسقلان. باي. أنا من بئر السبع. أنا من يافا.
أنا من فلوجة.
أنا من المشرق. أنا من اللد.
From here, the path to rebellion is a very short step indeed.
تقدموا تقدموا، كل سماء فوقكم جهنم وكل أرض تحتكم جهنم. تقدموا، يموت منا الطفل والشيخ ولا يستسلموا.
The denigration of Israel as an enemy of Islam and the Palestinians is a motif that repeats itself in all school books and lessons in online UNRWA education. Here, a teacher explains the so-called intention of the Zionists to set the Al-Aqsa Mosque ablaze and destroy it.
الهدف الثاني، يعلل الطالب إقدام الصهاينة على حرق المسجد الأقصى بتاريخ 21 آب 1969. رأينا إحراق المسجد الأقصى في عاصمة فلسطين القدس في دولة فلسطين. من الذي أحرق المسجد الأقصى؟ من الذي سيحرق المسجد الأقصى؟ هل سيكون إنسان مسلم أم سيكون عدو الفلسطينيين الأول والأوحد حاليا؟ من؟ بالطبع هم الصهاينة خلف هذا الفعل وخلف هذا الحرق الذي تم للمسجد الأقصى. فنقول لماذا أقدم الصهاينة على حرق هذا المسجد أو أرسلوا هذا الجندي لحرق المسجد الأقصى؟ نرى أن السبب هو محاولة الاحتلال الصهيوني طمس المعالم الأثرية الإسلامية والتاريخية والعربية في فلسطين.
Has the time not come for UNRWA donor nations to condition funding on an end to such indoctrination and instead to stress education for peace?